Jackals TV returns to the YouTube airways, and this day we are going to be chronicling the winter 24-25 season game between the Jackals and the Rare Rockets. This game happened on March 6th and is the third and final matchup of this season between these two teams, pending a matchup in the playoffs, of course. The Jackals are down a number of players in today's game. They're down Bruce, Chris Stuhar, Darwin, and Lloyd, so they'll have Brad Haber and Troy Bannister helping out here to fill out the roster. And then you see stretching on the bench, we have Al playing goal today in place of Trevor, who's unable to come to the game. The previous two games these teams played were both won by the Jackals, so let's head to the highlights and see how this one goes. It's the Rockets who come out flying in this one. First, they keep that puck in at the point, directed on net. It gets tipped there. A nice kick saved by Al, directing that puck to the corner. There's another turnover at the blue line. Going to turn this into a 2-on-1. This player's going to come in, get the shot. There's a rebound, sweeps that on net as well. Al makes two saves there. He's going to have to make some more. Here's a puck down below the net. Brad goes to retrieve it. The Rockets do get that out to their player, who's going to walk in the slot, take a shot, and Al gets a piece of it and goes harmlessly to the corner. We finally get to see what the other end of the rink looks like, but not for long. Off a turnover, they're going to race away. 2-on-1, go wide around Bob, pass it back up front. Good shot off of Al's toe and in the air, and he grabs a glove on it, and he's been spectacular to start this game and keep it 0-0. Here comes Chris Weidger the other way, passing it to Daryl. Daryl's going to cruise to the middle and put it back on net and get the first shot we're going to see in this highlight package finally for the Jackals. And the slow starting Jackals have finally settled in. Now we're going to see Daryl. He has this puck, and he's going to put it over Chris Weidger, who has space there down low, but he ends up directing that just wide. Jackals still on the attack. Here's David. He puts it down low to Chris Weidger, who's eventually going to bounce this off the wall out to Gary, and he sees Daryl sneaking in from the back door, puts the shot there for him to tip, but it gets tipped over the net. And so we go to the second period, 0-0. And it's going to be a dream start to the period for the Jackals. They win the draw for the period. Bob gives it back to Brad, and he's going to go in with it and make a little move back behind the body, but he loses control of it. The goalie gets a piece of it, but Brad holds on to it, and he sees Aaron on the far side, puts a good hard pass to him, and he tips that past the goalie on the back door, and the Jackals jump out early in this second period and make it 1-0. Jackals are going to get a chance to stretch the lead to 2 here. Brad's going to bump that puck up to Aaron, and he's going to make a neat little backhand pass over to Rob. Send him in on a breakaway, takes the shot, but the goalie makes a save. And on the clearing attempt here, watch Aaron, who's going to get his stick in on that player who's trying to get that loose puck and knock the stick out of his hands. That's a penalty to Aaron. So Rare Rockets go to the power play, and you see number 77 take a bad tumble on the left side of the screen, and eventually he's going to get the puck and put it up front, and they're going to score the goal from there. And because Aaron's penalty was a 4-minute penalty, the Rare Rockets are going to remain on the power play. And here they are trying to break out with it. And Daryl's going to check that player and get tangled up with him. And eventually he gets pulled down. So that's another penalty for the Jackals. So they have to kill a 5-on-3. They do that successfully. And then here they are on the attack after killing those penalties. And Gary throws that puck on net. And it's loose for Johnny in front. But an around-the-world glove save from the Rockets goalie keeps that one out. So Rockets coming back the other way. Cross the blue line, slowing up, waiting to take the shot. They do that, and that somehow finds its way through Al's legs. And the 1-0 lead the Jackals had early in this period has now been erased. It's 2-1 for the Rockets. But the Jackals are going to have a quick reaction to that goal. There we see Brad with a move around the wall, comes in on the left side, gives it to Chris Marshall, who takes a shot. There's a rebound sitting to the side of the net that Brad comes in and shovels in with the backhand, and this game is knotted up at 2. Jackals now looking to take the lead before this period ends. Here comes Gary up the left side, puts that shot on net. You can see it hit the side of the net, and it's going to wrap its way around to David. He's going to put it back down to Gary down low, and then he's going to see Jerry in the high slot, sweeps that on net. The goalie makes the save, directing it to the corner. Now we're going to watch this play. Aaron with the puck in the corner. And this is going to look very familiar to the play we just saw. Aaron eventually is going to get it over to Rob, who's going to find Bob in the high slot where Jerry was. This time the puck finds its way through the goaltender, and it's now a 3-2 lead here for the Jackals. And with a couple minutes left in the period, they're going to try and stretch this to a 2-goal lead. Here we see Chris Marshall cut that puck off along the wall, throws it on net, and it falls loose, and Chris Weecher tries to get a hold of the rebound, but he gets taken out before he can get a hold of it. So there's a face-off, and it's going to get back to Bob. It gets blocked before that shot can get through, but then he's going to exchange with Daryl, and he's going to put the puck over to Chris Marshall, and it's off Chris Marshall, and in the net, a 4-2 lead here for the Jackals. However, watch the referee comes in, he waves that off, deeming that Chris had kicked that puck in off of that pass. So it remains 3-2 as we head to the third. And here's a big body on the Rockets rumbling up the ice. And here's how you know he's a big body. Runs into Brad and sends him flying. That's a difficult thing to do on that player as Al comes out to make sure that puck stays in the corner. Here's a face-off in the neutral zone. And that Rockets player is going to win the race to the puck and get around Bob and go in on the left side and make this shot. And it gets through Al, but Brad collects the rebound in the crease with no goalie and gets it out of harm's way. Next, we see a nice read from Chris Weecher to pick that puck up at the blue line. Then he goes in on the left side, puts a little cheeky backhand towards the net, but the goalie makes the save. The majority of the chances for the Rockets are coming from this player right here. Here's a screenshot he takes, number 67. It gets through the screen, and Al gets a piece of it, and it ends up trickling wide. Here's another shot attempt that David blocks, and the puck's going to go in behind the net. And as Gary picks that up, he goes to the corner, and he moves to the middle, and that player sweeps a stick into his legs and trips him up. So it's a power play for the Jackals. Here they are. That puck gets moved to Bob, and he tries to go across ice to Aaron with it. Instead, he moves that back to Brad, and it's tipped by Rob, and then Jason Davis has an open net, but the defender gets a stick on it right at the last second and prevents him from tapping that in for an easy goal. So still on the power play, Bob's going to try to put that back to Brad, but it gets turned over, and that's going to turn it into a shorthanded 2-on-1 down the other way. But a nice defensive play from Brad to block that shot and prevent the pass from getting through. Less than 2 minutes left in this 1-goal game. Here comes number 67 again with speed. He has the defenders backed up, puts that through. Nice save up high from Al, and then he's going to walk out front with it and throw a backhander on net, and Al has that one as well. And that's going to be the last of the good scoring chances for the Rare Rockets. They're going to give it to 67 one more time as time is winding down, but Troy Bannister stands him up at the line and prevents the entry. And so it's going to be a victory here for the Jackals, 3-2. So the Jackals end the season series against the Rockets with a perfect 3-0 record. Let's have a look at the stats for the game. 3 players, each with a goal and an assist. And Al with an excellent outing, 23 saves on 25 shots, many of them difficult. And then we'll see what that does to the overall stats on the season thus far. We see Rob ensconced at the top of the table with 21 points. Aaron and Jeremy tied 2 behind him with 19. And that's it for this one. The Jackals' next game will be March 15th against the Vipers, and we will have those highlights for you. See you then.